What's up, it's Ken. I hope you guys are all excited for Halloween that's coming up. We are in doubles month, and today we are going to be working on more tricks with two nunchucks. Now, if you are a Patreon donor, first I want to say thank you so much. You already have about an hour's worth of doubles tutorials this month. I don't know if I can always throw out 15-minute extended classes every week, just because we would eventually run out of material. I couldn't do that for years and years. But maybe, we'll see. Right now though, today our focus is on using two chucks to move. Not only to move, but to be able to weave it in different areas as well as above our head. So we worked on the weave before, the 3-beat weave. This is one of the, I believe this was covered in video 2. This is the 4th video, by the way. We never covered the reverse 3-beat weave, which is on the other side. Now the thing is everything you do on this side, if you keep the same spin, it becomes reversed on the other. You can almost imagine like a mirror cuts your body in half. So everything you do forward here becomes backwards here. This is really important to know anytime you do a movement. And you can practice this simply by doing a figure 8 this direction. If you do a figure 8 this direction, you know how I'm slashing down, so I'm slashing down to create the circle on the other side, slashing down. And what I mean by down is when I cross over, it goes from up to down. But if I turned 180 degrees, if I'm standing over here and I turn 180 degrees with it, instead of slashing down, as I slash down and I turn 180 degrees, now if you look, I create my circles, but they slash upwards. So it goes from the bottom to the top. This is the essence of movement and motion and what we're going to be covering today. So today we're going to be covering the reverse 3-beat weave. I could say it's the exact opposite of the 3-beat weave, but that may not be good enough for you to do. So let's just try it over here. The reverse 3-beat weave, we're gonna be with our right hand, we're gonna be swinging it upwards. If I were to look at it right now, it's going clockwise. It's on the right side. The moment it hits 6 o'clock, we're gonna slash up and cross it to the other side of our body. So if I'm over here, the moment my chucks are at 6 o'clock, which is pointing down, you see I have this really interesting grip. We're gonna slash it up to the other side. And then the moment this is down at 6 o'clock, we're gonna slash it up to the other side again. This creates, well, the reverse figure 8. Now it's gonna be kind of the same thing as we did before, where our arms cross and uncross, and they come down, and we come across. You remember the 3-beat? It's gonna be the same thing with the reverse as well, except for we're just going backwards with it. So I started off by giving it like a little bit of a one circular rotation. As I start to rotate it, my left hand, or my right hand, goes over to the top, right? And this initiates the cross to where we get it started. And then this hand slashes over and to the other side. So if I go over here, my left hand initiates, my right hand crosses over, and the moment it crosses over, my left hand is gonna slash over to the other side, and it's gonna be just the same. Now I want you to practice from video 2, the normal 3, because it's gonna open and close, just like that. And now my right hand's underneath, so it's slashing up to the other side, open and close. Now my left hand, slash over, open and close, open and close. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Eventually we'll be able to really get it locked in. But right now, just see if you can make big motions. Whatever hand's on bottom is the one that slashes up to the other side. And then your hands are gonna open and close. Now my other hand's on the bottom, it slashes up. I'm gonna change directions or change angles so you can see it better. Same thing. This hand slashes up, and then when I say open and close, you see because my arms are open, and then they close again. They end up crossing, which creates the other hand to be on the bottom. And then that slashes over to the other side, and then it's open, close. So kind of in a slow motion, it'd look like that. Eventually, you don't need to arm it so much. You don't have to use your arms. You can keep your wrists kind of tight, and you put it all in your thumbs and your pointer fingers. And you'll have the reverse 3-beat this direction. It's really important to be able to do both. And then now after this, we're gonna work on the transitions between them. I also wanna let you guys know I'm gonna have a new camera soon, and I'm really excited about it. I've done so much tweaking on this freaking camera, just trying to get it to not autofocus or blur everything out of the way, or I swear there's like a ghost in this camera and it like only comes out when I try to record these videos. So I'm really excited. I hope you like it. I'll probably have it in about a week or 2. The videos will hopefully get a lot better. Syncing will work, so when my mouth moves, the sound will be like in the same sequence. Anyways, pretty excited about it. Thought I'd share. Here, remember we're gonna uncross and cross. Uncross and cross. We're taking it over to the other side, uncross and cross. Now we're gonna slash down. This hand's gonna follow. and it takes us to the reverse 3 beat. Where do you go when you usually start? I usually start on the beat to my left and then take it to the right. So if I'm over here, I'm gonna kind of stand over here. So right now my back is turned because I'm gonna turn into it. So here, uncross, cross, slashes down. So I'm turning to this way. Now we're gonna go into the reverse. So this is gonna go make the beat. This is gonna make a beat to kind of recross my hands to get it ready, and then we're gonna slash upwards like this. I'm gonna do it a couple times here. So here, uncross and cross, uncross and cross, uncross and cross, you're gonna slash down, and as I turn, I'm gonna uncross and cross on this side, but now we're in the reverse 3 beat, and then we're gonna turn and uncross and cross. So see, now we're doing the reverse. And it's gonna be the exact same thing. Every time your hand swings over to the other side, whichever hand it is, even if we're slashing over this way, all we have to do is follow it to the other side. So the example that I'll show you looks like this, just in regular motion. And you can go either direction as long as you follow that pattern of, instead of every time your body crosses over, so every time you would go to the other side, so every time I would either go to my right or my left, you skip that portion and you take it all the way to the other side. So instead of here and here, it's gonna be here and here. So if I'm over here, instead of here and then here and then here and then here, that's how I'm going back and forth with my weaves. It's going here, skipping this one, whoosh, slashing over to this side over here, and then to here, here, here. So we have this motion here, and we have this motion here. What about when you see people do this motion up here, and then you all of a sudden you have the full fountain? How do you get to the fountain? Well, the fountain, in my instance, my left side is a standard 3 beat weave, my right side is a reverse, and from the reverse, it's gonna be kind of the same thing. From the reverse, where my hand would cross over and go back to the standard, this time it's gonna fling upwards. And as it flings upwards, we're gonna wanna work on this type of motion here. Now this motion can be scary, so I kind of wanna go over this a little bit here. What happens is, we're kind of making a beat behind our head and in front of our head. Now the trick to this motion is, remember, it's gonna be in front of your head like so, and it's gonna go behind your head. Now your hand, to make it safer, my hand is usually pointed outward like this. Do you see how it's actually pointed outward like this? And then as it goes behind me, as soon as it hits 12 o'clock, it swings behind, like so. Now you'll notice my hand moves from this way to this way. From this way, 12 o'clock, and it kind of comes in from the left. So it's here, and it rolls in that way. So if I'm here, see how my hand's pointed outward? And then all of a sudden it's almost like thumbs down, pointed that way. So outward, down, outward. If you look really closely, look at my wrist. My wrist is loose. It doesn't mean you have to have flexible wrists. What that means is you just have to make sure it's not tight. Tight makes it a lot harder to get through. You can do it with tight wrists, but if you keep it nice and loose, you'll be able to kind of roll it past your head without hitting it as much. Slash this under to go back to cross to go to the other side. So uncross, but as we uncross it, left hand or right hand goes behind the head. So here, here, behind the head and in front of the head. Just see if you can get this part first. But anyways, we're here, right? Crossing and uncrossing to create our reverse 3 beat. The moment I slash over to this side, if we were to go back to the regular 3 beat, it's just set up right there. But instead, we're gonna open up our hands like this, right down the center. From there, my right hand's gonna go behind the back of my head, and my left hand is gonna follow. Now the left hand, if you notice, left hand makes a really interesting motion as well, because the right hand and the left hand are moving in the same direction. So they're actually gonna be, you have to train your hands to do slightly different motions. Again, this is gonna be kind of the same thing, thumbs facing towards the bottom, and then as it spins to the front, make sure you kind of curl your wrists in front of your face so you don't hit it, then thumbs kind of facing down. So both times thumbs are kind of facing down. It's kind of, I'm gonna show you, like so. Or if we're sideways, remember to clear your head. That's the most important thing. Also remember that you're creating 2 circles, one in front of your face and one behind your face. The space in between those circles is very important, otherwise you'll hit your head. So again, we're here, our hands open to create the space. Right hand goes behind the head, left hand follows. This is an easy way to help. You kind of create a half moon this direction. Now this is really hard if you don't have motion, but your right hand kind of creates a circle to the outside and gets to the front. This spins backwards. You see how I create a half circle, get behind, then it creates a half circle behind my shoulder, and then this follows my right shoulder. So 1, 2, 3, and this one's a weird one because it's spinning this direction. 4, 1, make sure it's really circular. Look in a mirror. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put it together and you have this. Now the nice thing is it's really easy to bring it down. The moment that your right hand swings over the top to the front, you just pull it over to the left and it becomes a weave. So you notice how like a lot of times I have this open spot that happens right here. This is really nice to know because your arms are uncrossing and crossing. If you extend your arms out, that's the perfect time to build into this forward stance. So when you're here, it's the same thing. There's this opening that happens when your hands go to the front of your face. So you can keep it nice and tight, or the moment your hand goes to the front, you can slash it open, and that's also the same spot as if you are slashing open here. So if we're doing the reverse and we're uncrossing here, it's the same as in where we're moving to the front of our face here. This is the transition point. So here to here, and then all you need to know is the transition over there, which is quite simply the left hand creates a beat to the left hand creates a beat first, the right hand creates a beat over it, and then all of a sudden you're in the beat. And from there you should be able to essentially go across into any of these. So you can go into reverse. The moment your hands are uncrossed, we go and do this motion here. And then the moment you're to the front, remember how we kind of just drag it out, and all of a sudden you can face it to the left. And then that's the regular 3 beat, and then we can spin it to the right, and that's the reverse. And all in one fell swoop, it's now when your hands are here, remember this is crank position. This is also kind of like the open position. So we went over crank before, but what you may not have realized is it happens when your hands uncross itself naturally when you're doing split time. When your hands are open, so say we're doing a reverse 3 beat, and we open up and you do your really cool motions, and we're back to here. See if you can get it to crank, and then you're gonna map out parts, okay? First you wanna make sure that they're matching in the center. Remember how your hands kind of bob up and down to make sure that they match. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna get used to having your hands in different points spinning at the same direction. So the first point's gonna be right here. So as you can see, it's just your hands are gonna trade positions here. Now this can be really hard, especially this hand down here, to create a flat circle. So it's really good to practice in front of a wall, because if it's not flat, they're gonna crash into each other, or they won't look like circles. If you don't have a flat plane, they might look like this, which doesn't make a circle, as opposed to this, where you can clearly see circles. It's important to make the circles because as we start spinning it past each other, well, it's what makes it convincing looking. So here, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. You should be able to do all of this before the end of this video, including all the other stuff we worked on the rest of the video. So the first point's here. Now here's the thing, it's just like the butterfly. You know how I said one hand slightly in front of the other? For me, my right hand is slightly in front of my left hand. This causes them to not crash into each other. And if you look at it really closely, there's not a whole lot of space that my left hand has before it crashes into something. I don't know if you can see it, because there's this pocket where this chuck is spinning here, and the chuck that I'm holding under here is actually falling in this pocket that's right here. It's not in the chuck's way, but it's kind of in this little box between this chuck spinning here, whoosh, my arm, and the chuck sticking out here. So it's almost like a little box that this spins in. So this takes a little while to get practiced on, but work on that. Whoosh. Also make sure that they are meeting in the center, just like how this meets in the center. And if you don't know, it's always one goes up and one goes down. So if we're here, I can still do this motion where one hand is moving up while the other is moving down, although it's a little bit trickier. Once we get this point, you got past the hardest part. the next point is going to be here. And now if you look, they're meeting in the center, but they're meeting at the tops and the bottoms right there. Boom, boom. So we're here. We pull it up to this one. If you can see, it's almost like a cross. I have point, 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 point. I'm just moving it 90 degrees each time. But the best way to do that is just to hold it there for a minute until you get comfortable with it. It might take a day for you, or even a couple days, to get used to each position. The second one's here, and again, they meet over in the front. And then the third position you know very well. As soon as they connect, just pull it. So every time they connect in the center is a good time to go to the next position. This is your standard crank position. Then once they meet, pull it down. Oops. This one's a tough one for me, but and then there's one more that you can do if you want to, which is they kind of cross positions here, which is the reverse of this one. Now this is a lot harder to do with chucks than it is with put, but there's a great reward to it too, because you know we have hand rolls and all kinds of other good stuff that just kind of come naturally at chucks. So here, 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 here. Now you may wonder, well, how do we get back to the weave? Anytime you're back to this position here, you can go back to your weaves. Remember, this is the genuine spot. So if I'm here, even if I'm crossed over here, just extend it until we're out to here, and then we can turn it into the weave. Or we can extend it and we can turn it into the reverse. Or extend it and we can turn it into above the head. So we can go 1, 2, 3. Or you can even just go 1, 2, and then go into it. 1, 2, over the head. 1, 2, reverse. 1, 2, over the head, and then go 3. 1, 2, 3, here. Now when I go 3, 1, 2, 3, you might wonder, well, how do I get back to the crank position? It's just simple, because you're automatically going there. The moment your hand starts to unwind, you're going to reach this position. The moment it reaches that position is the time you can transition anywhere. So 1, 2, 3, here. 1, 2, 3, here. 1, 2, 3, over the head. And then lastly is the fourth position, 1, 2, 3, 4, back. And it's the same thing. If I go slow motion, 2, 3, 4, I'm opening until I get back to the standard crank position. I'm just not stopping there, but once I get there, that's my transition point where I move it on. So with that said, you should be able to move your weave back and forth, here and here, whoosh, whoosh. Something that's really crazy and cool too is as we're crossing over and uncrossing to the other side, it's kind of the same thing if we just moved our feet and kept our chucks in the same spot. Right now I'm moving the chucks from the left to the right side of my body. But if I was doing my chucks and I stepped towards my chucks, it's the same concept as if I pulled them over. So I step towards my chucks and it becomes a reverse. It's not going to be any different whether I include my footwork or whether I pull it with my hands. The concepts are still going to be the same. It's going to, if I step towards my chuck, if I'm here and I step towards my chuck, my forward becomes a reverse, my reverse becomes a forward, just like if I pulled it across my body. With that, you should be able to explore and come up with all kinds of great possibilities. Your weaves should be awesome. Now you have all different kinds of combinations. This is a slightly challenging class for what I've taught, but I think you'll really like it if you stick with it. I hope you enjoy. And yeah, thanks for being my patron. It's super awesome. I am gonna work my hardest to make sure that you guys are always happy. So yeah, talk to y'all soon. Take care.